Hi everyone, John here. Now, if you've seen my videos, my personal videos, you know that I'm pretty much the Allan Holdsworth lesson guy. But when I first wanted to do these lesson videos, I did not want to just do them for Allan. I wanted to do them for other musicians and guitar players that I really liked and some other cool things I might have transcribed. So I thought today might be a pretty good opportunity to start doing some of the cooler stuff that I wanted to do that wasn't really Allan related. So one of my favorite guitar players, Jason Becker, I have a Moridira Hurricane just like his. His personal one is being put up for auction right now, which is kind of out of my price range. But I do have this. Now, this piece that we're going to learn, it's not going to be the whole song, it's just going to be one particular section. But it's from Marty Friedman's first solo album, Dragon's Kiss, his song Saturation Point, which kicks off the album. I love this record, and there was this middle section that was really cool that I could never figure out. Now, when I started to learn how to do this shreddy kind of stuff in the late 90s, there was no YouTube or anything, so there weren't a lot of good transcriptions, so I never knew what was going on here. So in subsequent interviews that I've read about Marty, he sort of gave drips and drabs about parts of songs and stuff, so I was able to figure out what is actually going on there. So I thought, oh, this would be really cool, because I don't think anyone has ever transcribed this accurately. And this is a part that Jason put into that song, so it's really something Jason wrote, even though it's on Marty's album. Also, I don't even know if he used the white hurricane. He might have used the blue hurricane for this, but I figured this would be a great opportunity to actually use this. So anyway, let's talk about this 12-tone rose section from Marty Friedman's song Saturation Point. Alright, so this section is 8 measures long, and it's in 6/4, or in 3/4, 2 measures of 3/4, but I'm going to call it 6/4. And the reason why is because it's got these 12-tone rows. Now, when I was watching and listening to these Marty Friedman interviews, he had mentioned something about that, and that's something that the guys have done previously in other songs. I know Savage has a section like that, Jason has a section like that in Opus Pocus, so it's totally plausible that there's one here, and that actually helped figuring out the transcription. And the reason why it's a little bit easier is because a 12-tone row is really when you use all 12 notes of the chromatic scale equally. So if we have 12 notes for one measure, you're using all the notes of the chromatic scale in a random order and in different octaves. They don't have to be, it doesn't have to be anything specific. So each measure has 12 notes, none of them really being repeated. Now, this section that we're talking about is 8 measures long, but not every measure has uses the 12-tone row idea. The last 2 measures are actually a little bit different. So, but there's still more to that than just the 12-tone row, because if you've heard it, the guitar playing is all over the place. So, I believe Marty in another interview mentioned about Jason using a delay. And then it struck me after I started to listen to it what's actually going on. I have actually mentioned this in one of my personal Allan videos that I did on the Unmerry-Go-Round, where Allan is creating this really cool piece using delay, using dotted eighth delays. Now, a dotted eighth is the equivalent of 3/16 notes. So what's actually happening here is Jason is playing something in eighth notes, but then the delay is happening in between the eighth notes that he's playing. So it sounds a lot faster than it really is, and you have this really cool kind of warbly kind of effect. So for example here, this is just what the guitar sounds like by itself, and then with a delay, I just have a delay set up to just some random time. So it just delays once, and then that's it. So if I play a note, it just repeats again. So now if I'm playing eighth notes compared to this, and I treat the delay as a dotted eighth note, the repeated note will come between the second and third note that I play. So if I play, let's say, A, B, C, it should sound like this. So you can see that the notes that are being delayed are in between the notes that I'm playing. So that's what's actually going on here. And to further complicate this, the stuff that Jason is playing is actually harmonized in major thirds. Now, I doubt that he actually played the two parts together. I'm pretty sure that he's just actually using a major third harmonizer. So every note is a major third or a whole step, 2 whole steps higher. So if I'm playing an A, you're going to hear a C sharp with it, like that. So if I play A, B, C, so everything's going to be harmonized. But I'm not going to be talking about the actual harmony, I'm just going to be talking about the notes that Jason is playing. So let's start off with measure 1. So as I said, all these measures are in 6/4. So 6/4, same thing as 12/8, 12/8 notes. So the first measure has the 12-tone row to it. So I'll be putting up the notes, and if you want, you could probably get the tablature from the Toriginist.com website, which I'll put in the description. So the first measure goes like this. It's F sharp to F to G, C, A, D sharp, C sharp, A sharp, G sharp, D, E, B. Now, of course, that sounds so kind of weird and random, but now if I add the effect to it, it's going to sound more like it. Now, I don't know what the delay is, so I got to get like a... So that's what it actually sounds like. I'll be playing the whole thing sort of later. So once again, just going to do measure by measure. So this first measure, 12 tone rows, all the notes in the chromatic scale are being used evenly here. So another 12 tone row thing here, 12 chromatic notes. Now I'm going to be calling all the enharmonic notes just sharps because when you write stuff in a 12 tone row, it's not really biased to a certain key. So you would probably write it in the key of C major and then add all the accidentals. So just for consistency, I'm going to call them all sharps. So the first note of measure 2 is E, then A sharp, then C, G, F, D, A, little D minor triad there, C sharp, G sharp, I'm sorry, F sharp, D sharp, then B, and G sharp. So something like this. Measure 3, once again, 12-tone row. A, C, A sharp, D, E, F, G, G sharp, D sharp, F sharp, C sharp, B. So this pattern is mostly in flat 9s, this 12-tone row, until the very end, where there's a flat 5. So it's E to F, then it moves up to G to F sharp, then it goes to C to B, then down to A sharp, then C sharp, D sharp, and then that's the last of the well, I mean that one is a 9 away, and then we have a G sharp and a D, which is a flat 5. So this sounds like this. So measure 5 is pretty cool. It actually plays all the notes in a row chromatically, just jumps the octaves that they're in, starting on E. So it goes from E to D sharp. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp. Like that. Measure 6 is the final 12-tone row kind of section. It starts with a C, then it goes to D sharp, to C sharp, then F, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, F sharp, A, E, and then D. So it sounds a little like this. And then finally when we get to measure 7, now it's going to be something a little bit different. So measure 7 is actually diatonic to D major, so it means it has an F sharp and a C sharp, or you want to think of it against E minor as E Dorian. So it's G to D, E, another E, to A, to F sharp, to A again, to D, little D major triad there. Then after that it goes to B, then another B, to an E, and then a C sharp. That's measure 7. And then measure 8 once again is a little bit different from the others. So measure 8 actually uses 3 augmented chords, augmented triads. So it starts off with E augmented, so it's E, then a C, then a G sharp. Then it goes to an A augmented triad, A, to F, to C sharp. Then it moves down back to E, so then we're going to play C here, but now G sharp over here, and then E. And then it ends with like a little E minor triad with a G, a B, and then an E. That's the whole thing. So this last measure sounds like this. Now on the record, it cuts off there, but if you're playing here, the last note that you're going to play is going to delay into the next measure and could sound a little bit weird. So that's the whole thing, and I'll play it slowly so you can kind of hear how it sounds together. So this is how the whole thing is going to sound with the harmonizer and the delay effect. So that's what it sounds like. And then I'm going to try to play it up to speed with the actual record so you can kind of hear the two blended together. So that's it. That's what it sounds like all together. And if I had practiced it a little bit more, I wouldn't have had so many takes trying to nail it. But yeah, that's Jason's part in Marty Friedman's Saturation Point. So that's how it goes. Pretty cool kind of concept. Really weird outside kind of stuff. Yeah, very cool. And of course, I played it at like 70% because I don't know it well enough to just kind of play it really fast. But anyway, that's it. I hope you learned something cool. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.